Welcome back to Unk's Tech Reviews. I'm Kenneth, and today I'm going to be talking about Unk's first smartwatch. Big lulz, yeah, first smartwatch. Personally, I never really wanted to be super attached to, notifications, or I'm not one who think that I need apps on my wrist. It's kind of like, personally, as cringy as carrying a beeper, But today I'm going to be talking about my first smartwatch. The Garmin Vivoactive 6. I've been using this thing for, like 5 weeks now. And honestly, after you turn off all the notifications, it's not that bad to live with. It's pretty nice. That, and once you get over the not having that Apple convenience, things don't just push and work. I mean, they work, but it's just not one tap. Like, for example, connecting those power beats to your phone. It's not that simple, but let's get into it. I'm gonna talk about it. So, for one, I chose the Vivoactive 6 because of the design. It's not a square watch. Who wears a square watch? Ugly. I like the round, minimal shape. I think it's pretty sleek looking. It also, conveniently enough, will take 5mm watch bands. So I was able to use one of the watch bands I already have that I think is really comfortable to make the watch more comfortable. And suddenly it feels like every other non-smartwatch I've owned. Again, I chose this because I'm not really compelled to have a miniaturized phone on my wrist. I don't want to be connected that much. I don't want to be the guy sitting down, trying to fiddle-faddle and respond to a text message while, I don't know, a person like you might need my attention. I like the fact that it does give smartphone connectivity. And we're going to talk about it a bit, but simple. If we break it down, I get things like text messages and phone calls, and I don't have to respond immediately. My battery expectations, I wanted something I could last for, like, I could use for at least, a week's time. Something that felt like a natural watch, I'm not taking it off to charge because the battery is dying. Something I get actual use from. And I wanted something that actually helps me out day to day and not necessarily distracts me day to day. And also, the price point. It was only $200 on eBay. That was hard to pass up. Okay, that's it. With the Vivoactive 6, let's talk about some of the things I use every day. Some things I look at every day. For example, the sleep tracker is nice. I've gotten feedback that I've had a few restless nights, and then I look at my watch and it'll tell me that I had a restless sleep. That's kind of cool to look back over the weekend and have a catalog of how I rested and seeing what I could do before I go to bed or around bedtime to help me get a better sleep. And honestly, it's not the watch, but I do feel like I have been getting better sleep because I have something to look at to give me, sort of a measure of how I've been doing that week. My girlfriend and I, we have started these step competitions. So I don't track my steps daily, but it's just to glance at and see that, after moving furniture around all day or playing with the dogs, it's very easy to collect 10,000 steps. And it's also very easy to not get any steps, when you are just sitting down playing too many rounds of Arc Raiders that weekend, The heart rate data is surprisingly, I can say, accurate. It's not like it's something I'm staring at, but after looking at a day's worth of activities, it seems to track pretty well with how I feel that day, but also gives a good picture of how stressful the days are for me or how light they are. Another thing I've been looking at too is the body battery feature. It shows you how charged you are. It's pretty funny after a few of those restless nights, you know, I'll wake up and it'll say I'm for the worse that day, not fairly charged because of bad rest. I had to turn off all the notifications except for things like phone calls and text messages. I don't get called or texted a lot throughout the day, like not an annoying a lot, you know. If I'm getting reached, it's usually via other devices for work, not specifically my personal phone. But it's nice to see, you know, when my mom, my sister, my girlfriend, family members are trying to reach me, just a little text message on my phone, on my watch, sorry. And then again, I'm not compelled to respond to those things so quickly because I can't with the watch, you know. I can only read, can't really respond. If I accept a phone call, I have to find my phone and answer that as well. So I like how restrictive and not connected it is, but I also like how much information you do get from sort of a distance, you know. It's like looking at your news through the window. Okay, some things that surprised me. The battery life really surprised me. If I wanted to push it, I could go probably 2 weeks without really charging this thing, especially if I don't turn on the GPS for activities. It will last, yeah, I feel a solid 2 weeks, just giving me sleep data and day-to-day heart rate data, which is pretty nifty because I feel like there was a moment there where my girlfriend, she had an Apple Watch and she was reaching to charge that thing like every 2-3 days. It had pretty gross battery life, which is kind of annoying to be like fiddling around, you know. I feel like if you're not thinking about it and it's working, that's a good product. Also, what surprised me is how often I look at it. I feel like I look at it as much as I would have looked at a non-smartwatch, albeit those few times it might vibrate for a text or alert. Other than that, yeah, getting things like weather and time, it's good for that, it's a watch. Step data, calorie information, if I wanted to look at that, see how many calories I'm burning. Teetering towards like a realm of so much information that you gotta whittle down the things that you need personally. That said, because I have the step data on there when we're doing these step competitions, it kind of motivates me to maybe, you know, go for a walk around the block, try to get an extra 1,000 steps, you know, take a breather that day. One thing it also has is a stress meter, which is pretty funny because I feel it'll show me when I am the most stressed, and those moments are usually around work in the morning. I feel like the watches help change some of my habits for the better. Those habits around sleep and connectivity. It's funny how a device that connects you to your phone more would make you look at your phone less a little bit, so that's nice. Okay, that said, the Vivoactive 6 is feature packed. Basically, if there is a physical activity that will get your heart rate over 100 BPM, you can record it on this watch, from things like stand-up paddleboarding to horse riding to even snowmobiling. There's loads of things on here that I do not use. I'm not gonna say that's a bad thing, but that speaks to the versatility of the device. So features I don't use, you might find very nifty. I have like a really nice, I don't know, internal alarm clock. I seem to wake up at the same time every day, but there are features on this watch like soft alarms where the watch will vibrate you awake based off of where you are in your sleep pattern. You know, nice thing to have. You know, you don't want to wake up jolting out of your REM or in the middle of that cinema-packed dream. You don't want to ruin it. The watch will see where you are in that pattern and kind of gently nudge you to come alive, awake. That said, all the menus, there are things that I don't use, you know, there's stock features. Look, I'll even show you health snapshot features. You can even put your payment information and use it like Apple Pay or Garmin Pay. I don't want to, you know, cross them, but stuff like that. I mean, I have my phone. I think it's already there. I mean, if I wanted to, I could sure, leave my phone at home and run to the store and pay for a stick of gum with my watch and get out of there very quickly, or if I'm in the gas station or something. I've never thought about that, but now I'm talking to you about it. I might give it a shot this week. What's also nice is you can download music onto the watch and then do activities without your phone. So go for like a 20-minute run and just have your headphones connected to the watch and play a podcast back that you downloaded, or an album that you downloaded. I don't use that so much because, again, I guess I'm too phone connected as a millennial, but talk about them. They're nice to have, and I'm probably gonna delve into them after this combo. As my first smartwatch, we're gonna compare this to the most famous or most, popular smartwatch, I'm not gonna say the one that everybody's using right now, the most convenient one to compare, connect to your phone. Things like iTunes don't work on this for obvious reasons, but I feel like with Garmin devices, if you have patience, everything you need is there. Just gotta have patience, which I think I've got plenty of. It's sort of kind of funny, I can figure out. And again, it's not so connected that it's overwhelming me to nonstop constantly look at the device. If you're looking for something with great battery life, fitness first, you're a very active person, do a lot of activities. I feel like once you start recording GPS on the Apple Watch, the battery goes downhill super quick. And once you're that just defeats the purpose of having, a piece of livable tech that doesn't bug you so much. I really appreciate the battery life on this thing. I cannot praise that enough. You probably. Yeah, this watch is for someone who's not necessarily wanting to be phone dependent, app dependent, and looking for a lifestyle fitting device. Not something that fits with their lifestyle, not something that you create a lifestyle around. Because I can tell you, personally, one of the things that bugs me a lot is with people with Apple Watches, they're just because it's just always ringing and send them emails, alerts, this, that, and the third. And the worst is they can just speak and sheesh, poof, we're gone, man. You're just connected to the matrix nonstop. If you're looking for an UNC-approved smartwatch, I think Vivoactive 6, pretty enticing purchase. I think it is a good fit for people who are looking for a low barrier to entry first smartwatch that isn't really expensive. Also fairly cute, not square, fairly active people who are also very patient and wanting to use the features of Garmin Connect and all that has to offer. That's all well beyond this. It's not necessarily for the notification addicts and the phone addicts, or the people who need that alert, need to respond quickly, need to, or feel compelled to be on every noti that pops up on their phone. Again, I turned them all off, and once I did that, this thing became bliss. Yeah. Personally, a first smartwatch that makes a lot more sense than I expected. I didn't expect to like a product this much. And I feel like, I'm gonna keep it going for the next 6 or so months, see. It's such an easy device to live with that it's kind of hard to look past, say again, the battery life, sheesh. Not having to take it off, and just the band comfort, the weight, it's not hefty, it's not alarming, it's not jarring. So again, thanks for hanging out with Unc's Tech Reviews. Like and subscribe. The fact that you made it here, thank you so much. Bye.